Hello, guys. Welcome to another episode of the Commerce Lab by Ecomcy, the place where every related to Amazon, FBA, parallel, and e-commerce. My name is Vincenzo Toscano, founder and CEO of Ecomcy, and today we bring another special guest. Her name is Christine Blosdale, and she's the founder and CEO of the Expert Authority Coach, where they specialize on everything that has to do with personal branding, specifically around creating, your own communities as well, which is something I'm feeling specifically in the e-commerce space. A lot of people don't focus on. Like a lot of people focus on selling products, but what is beyond the product? What is my community? What is my mission? What is my actual perception as an authority in my niche? And that's why I wanted to bring Christine today. So hopefully we can grab some of her knowledge to really dive into how we can implement that in our own lives. So Christine, welcome to the show. Thank you so much for being here. How you
Ah,
doing?
Vincenzo, thank you so much. I've been really looking forward to this. Thank you.
Pleasure, pleasure. Thank you so much. I guess if you don't mind, we can start with a quick, intro from your side so we know who you are, your expertise in this space, and then we can dive into the topic. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. Do you want me to tell you a little bit about how I got here?
Yes, that would be awesome.
I was very lucky to get some opportunities early in life, and I was assigned. I got a gig with America Online. Now you're too young. You're. I think you're too young for America Online. But back in the day, there was no Facebook. There was no TikTok. All right. There was no LinkedIn, and it was only America Online, and it was amazing for us. We just was thought it was fantastic. No video. It was just like written word, copy. And I got the opportunity to write a very popular column on AOL in the entertainment channel, and it was called The Daily Fix. And I got to write, I basically, it was all Hollywood entertainment. So brutally honest movie reviews. I got to actually say exactly what I thought about a film. I got to interview celebrities, directors. It was a wonderful time. And it really helped me hone in on what people wanted. And
Mm.
the demographic, when I asked my editor, I said, so who's my audience? He said, it's America Online, Christine. It's everybody from 8 years old to 80. And I said, well, that's a very large demographic, 8 to 80. And he said, well, that's what it is. And so you need to write that in a way that those people within that age group, which is very massive, that they'll enjoy it and they'll come back. And so
Yeah.
I started writing, and now this is way before Shrek movies, but have you seen a Shrek movie before?
Yeah.
So you
Yes.
understand Shrek is appealing to a wide audience because kids can enjoy it and also adults can enjoy it. And so that's sort of the style in which I wrote. I wrote through a cartoon character. I didn't write through my own name or my own persona. I wrote through this very campy, vampy, martini
Oh,
toting, anatomically incorrect woman. Okay, she was a little buzzed most of the time, but
yeah.
she worked her way through Hollywood, right? So I did that for many years, and I got to hone in on that craft. And then the next step for me was actually going into broadcasting. I worked at a radio station in Los Angeles for 20 years, again communicating with an audience that I could not see, I could only feel, and being authentic was the key for me and my success at that station. And what I found is that people want to connect, even though we like to, we're into the rich and famous, we like to see how the other half lives and all of
Yeah.
that. We really deep down we want to connect with people. And so
Yeah.
I got to hone in my craft with that and doing broadcasting. And then I was like, I need to share all these goodies with people. I wanted to be a teacher slash coach. I wanted to share
Nice.
my bits of wisdom. And the pillar of three, which I found over many years, these are the three things that people want and need. And if you have a business, so if you have a business right now, think about these three pillars. And if it fits any of these uh, categories, you're onto a good start. And that is health, wealth, and love.
Nice.
And wealth, when I say wealth, I don't just mean like become a gazillionaire overnight. I'm saying wealth is also having the ability to have time with your family, to go on holiday, to spend quality time with the people that you love. And of course, health, if you don't have health, you can't have any of those other things. But if
Yeah.
you have a business that revolves around health, wealth, and again, all different kinds of wealth and love, then you're onto a good path. And so that's what I do right now. I've got clients all around the world that I love working with, and we tap into at least one of those pillars. And sometimes we tap into a couple of them, and then it's that's when we get trajectory.
Love it. Wow, what a background. I love it. So I think actually the one I would like to start with is, throughout your experience, you mentioned that you really had to understand your audience. And I think that's a very good starting point
Yeah.
for today's conversation, because if you want to build your personal brand and your whole kind of ecosystem around your authority, you really need to understand who you're talking to. Because if you're not using the right lingo, or you're putting the right content out there, or providing the right value, people are just not going to connect with you. So I guess from your expertise, how somebody can reverse engineer that in the first place. Yeah.
Yeah. So what I do, the very first thing I do with clients is I sit them down, and especially those that have a bit of imposter syndrome or connect they can't fully connect with their target audience. And I say, it's not about you. And they look at me like a deer in headlights. They're like, what do you mean it's not about me? This is about my brand. I'm a coach, or I provide this service. And I said, it's actually about the people that you claim that you want to help or serve. And when you focus instead of yourself and how you look or what people are going to think about you, and you put it on, I need to show up for these people that I am serving, right? My
Yeah.
target audience, it changes the dynamics. And I learned a lesson, Vincenzo, and not even too long ago. I learned this lesson. The lesson is, to be successful, you want to be able to deliver a product, a service, information, education, entertainment. You want to deliver something that your target audience actually wants and needs, not what you want to give them. And I know that seems counterintuitive for some people. And they're like, but I'm an expert at this and I can help people. Listen, you need to focus in on, and I hate to say the pain points, but what are the things that are people struggling with? What are the things that people really need and want? And if you can provide that service for them, and save them time or money or frustration, and get them to where they need to go, it's gold.
Yeah.
Then all you got to do is just work on your brand and your messaging, and go to those platforms where your audience is. Maybe they're on LinkedIn, maybe they're
Hmm.
on TikTok. It depends on what kind of business you have and the branding, but it's really important to think about what is it that they need and want, as opposed to what you want to force down. This is what I'm giving you, take it or leave it, right?
Of course, very important. And I think something that starts to happen as well is I see a lot of people start doing that. They start providing or creating the content that the actual niche that you're trying to target is looking to receive from you. But I think one of the key elements here is also the consistency, because I think there's a very important thing here, that you need to allow the timeline that it takes for you to build our authority, because it's not like I'm going to start today and tomorrow everybody's going to think I'm the expert on this topic. Like, you need to show consistency. You need to actually show the whole roadmap of how you go from 0 to 100. So I guess
Yeah.
from your experience, like, how you stay motivated across all these phases, because not only it's about stay motivated, it's about things as you mentioned, the imposter syndrome, that is a killer throughout this journey, right? So
It stopped. You know what? It kills a lot of dreams. And what I find is that I'll work with some clients, and they're all over. They're in the United States, they're in LA, they're in New York, they're in Canada, they're in Australia, and they're extremely gifted. They have gold. They're sitting on a throne of gold, and yet they have these doubts. And so they stop themselves before they even begin. And so what my job is to pluck those gems that I know that they've already accomplished, and put them in their crown, and create their expert authority, or at least communicate what it is that they're an expert at. And you'd be shocked at what people can accomplish once they claim it. One of the very first things we do when I work with people is we create a media kit. that media kit is not just to help you get booked on podcast shows and to get you interviews or quoted in magazines and things like that. But that media kit is to provide you an avatar, so to speak, something that you can look up to and say, I want to become that, right?
Mm-hmm.
You may not be there right now. You may not have that confidence right now to speak in front of 5 people, let alone 500 people. But once you create that media kit and you say, that's who I am. Oh, that's right. I accomplished this. I did that. I actually worked. I came from zero and
Mm-hmm.
accomplished all these things. You need to be able to express that to people. And establishing your expert authority is spending a little time in the saddle, so to speak, and creating that content, those videos, writing those books. And when I tell clients they got to write their best-selling book, they look at me and they go, "But I'm not a writer." And I said, "I'm not a writer either. I have 5
Yeah.
bestsellers. I have 5 best-selling books, and I'm not a writer. I'm a speaker." So I found a way through technology to take the things that I've spoken about in webinars, in seminars, on podcast shows, and taking that content, repurposing that content into chapters in a book or modules in a course for a program that I want to create. But it really helps when you want to create that book and you're like, I don't think I can write. It's okay. Can you talk? If you
Yeah.
can talk, and if you can't talk and you can't write, then we need to we need to work on
Yeah.
something else. But there are other platforms. With technology, we can do so many amazing things.
Yeah.
It's actually a very wonderful time right now.
Yeah. And I think the idea of creating like your media kit, I think that's very smart as well, because I agree. Sometimes we have achieved so much in terms of, content that we have done, a keynotes that we have done, a podcast, and then that goes into kind of, you forget about all those achievements, and then you think, actually, I'm not progressing, I'm in the same place, but and you don't sit down and actually have some kind of uh, I guess being grateful of what you have done so far, and that is a momentum you need,
You
Yeah,
nailed it. You said
yeah,
exactly that. For years I would say, well, I've done this, I've accomplished that,
mhm,
this, that, and the other. And for a long time, I forgot about my years working for America Online and Microsoft. It was AOL and then MSN, and my MSN
mhm,
was just basically competition for AOL.
yeah,
Another, couple of
yeah,
letters. But I remember I forgot, and that was a very informative time in my life, and I learned so much. And then as soon as I put that in my bio, and as soon as I put in the as seen on, and I'll show you for the folks that have the
yeah,
video, this is the first page of my media kit. I actually have several pages, but the first page, um, it will have an as seen on little badge here, and it
nice.
has logos that are recognizable to people. So it has the AOL logo, which everybody
Hmm.
knows. It has the Amazon logo. It has of course, the Google logo, MSN, Spotify, all these different brands that people recognize. And so for the longest time, I forgot about my AOL experience. Once I put that in my bio, and once I put that in my media kit, you should see how because they understand what AOL was, and it lifts your expert authority. So there may be things that you've done in the past that you don't
Hmm.
think anything of, or you think, oh, it's not important.
Exactly.
It could be very important, and it can help open the doors.
Yes, and I think now to start bringing this back home in terms of what we specialize on here around e-commerce, I think this is at the end of the day the starting point to where a brand is, right? Once you start creating the authority, people start trusting you, start creating the community. Then the next step is definitely bringing potentially a product that could solve their issues or whatever you've been trying to fight for in terms of your cause. So I guess from the expertise you have in this space, like how do you see usually the transitioning going from being an authority in the space to potentially having your own brand as well and actually converting that in a business?
Well, and first of all, it helps to really love what you do. If
Mm,
you're doing it just for the money and you really think it's a chore, my
yeah,
goodness, it's going to be a tough slog.
yeah,
If
yeah, yeah.
if you, I mean, I start my day. Well, I get up like at 5, but I
Mm,
start my day at 6 in the morning, and I'll tell you, I don't need a whole bunch of coffee, although I do drink coffee because I love it. But but I don't need a whole bunch of coffee to get me, because I'm so excited to start at 6 a.m. with my clients because I love them. I actually, we've had long friendships as I
Mm,
worked with them. But the thing is that you do have to be somewhat excited about what you
mm,
do. It is also finding your niche. It's finding your groove. And for the longest time, remember how I was saying that sometimes we tend to, as entrepreneurs and business
yeah,
owners, coaches, we tend to say, well, this is what I want to give. And people aren't reacting. They're not buying it from me. They're not
exactly.
signing up. And then
Yeah.
oh, this isn't worth it. I'm a failure, right?
Mm,
Listen, again, for during the COVID times, my bread and butter, I was making really good money helping small businesses, entrepreneurs, coaches create their own podcast. So I would show them how to, this is what we do. This is how we create the cover art. This is the title. This is the theme music. Here's some legal stuff that you need to know, right? To protect yourself. And so I showed them how to create a podcast. It was going to be a branded podcast for their business. And here's how you record. Here's how you edit. And that was my bread and butter. I was doing very well during the lockdowns. Well, after the lockdowns, right, when everybody was sort of getting back to stuff and
yeah.
going on with their business, I kept trying to push that service. Let me help you create that podcast,
Mm,
that podcast. Now, if you take a look at entrepreneurs and solopreneurs and small business owners, the amount of people that actually have the wherewithal, time, energy to create their own podcast, it's like this. It's tiny,
yeah.
the
Yeah.
portion of the pie. Because again, I kept saying, well, this is what I'm really good at. So I'm going to keep trying to sell it. And then when people weren't signing up for it, I was starting to doubt myself. I was like, well, I don't.
Yeah.
And then I flipped the script and I realized, what is it that people really want? They need and want help on their messaging, their branding, their social media, their website, getting marketing, general marketing, digital marketing out there. And so as soon as I turned it to that as a service I provide and helping them build their expert authority, the doors opened and the business came back, and it's just now it's doing super super well because I listened to what my people actually need and not what I was trying to push on them.
Yeah.
So that's what's important. And I've seen a lot of people. I've seen,
Yeah.
life coaches, transformation coaches, and they're like, I want to help people get enlightenment and transformation. And I'm like, that's too nebulous. It's too airy fair. It's too out there.
Yeah.
You need to give somebody something concrete. And if they have something concrete, then they can go after it. But if it's too vague, then you're not going
Yeah.
to have anybody taking you up on it.
Yeah, I think this also happens because I have seen a lot of people going through this phase, even myself at the beginning, where is when you start creating your community or your brand or your business, and you start receiving this feedback about things that you have to change or things that are not working correctly in the shape of a product, in the shape of a message or whatever you're putting out there. A lot of people take that criticism as you're actually doing it wrong and you're a failure, rather than using it as a feedback to actually end up with the end result, which is connecting properly with your audience. So I think a lot of people, when they start getting that critique, they die there and they don't actually reinvent themselves to actually find the right way to communicate with the audience. So it's what you're saying, be able to
Yes.
adapt fast enough to keep creating your authority.
Well, and if you realize if you don't take it personally, but I believe that when that happens, what gets triggered is the imposter syndrome button
Mm,
switch. The switch goes on. And that could have been something, even it doesn't matter how many degrees you have or how much money you have in the bank, or even clients that you have, or success, quote unquote.
mm,
But if you had somebody when you were on the playground at 5 years old and they said, "You're stupid,"
mhm,
which kids do.
mhm,
You're ugly,
mhm,
whatever. And if it's a kid on the playground, it's one thing. If it's somebody within your household, if it's a parent, oh geez, that multiply
mhm.
that by 10. But that little kid that got that message at a really young age, You don't matter. Your opinion, stay quiet, be what is it? Be seen and not heard. All
Yeah.
those things. If we have those messages when we're really young, we store them in a database. And later on in life, when we're asked to step up and maybe to do something that we're not comfortable with, maybe somebody says, "Hey, I want to book you in to. I want you to talk to this group of people," um, and you've never done it. All of a sudden, that voice comes in. You're stupid. You can't do it, and that will keep people from from expanding and trying new things. And I'll tell you, we cannot be afraid of failure. There is no such thing
Yeah.
as failure. If you try something and it doesn't work out, then you can take that opportunity and say, you know what, the next time I do that, I'm actually going to
Hmm.
do this and not that, instead
Yeah.
of giving up and saying, I'll never do that again.
Yeah.
And that's what happens a lot of times. People say, I'll never do that again because I was so embarrassed, or I think people were
Yeah.
making fun of me. And again, we're focusing on ourselves and
Exactly. Yeah.
not the audience or the people that we want to serve.
Yeah. I think at the end of the day, as long as you don't give up, there's not such a thing as failure. It's actually feedback, you know? Yeah.
That's how you learn. When we're
Yeah.
kids, we learn how to walk because we
Yeah.
fall. If we the first time we fell as babies and we just gave up and we said, "Well,
Exactly.
I'm going to just be in a wheelchair because I can't walk. This walking thing is a little too difficult." We would all be in wheelchairs. But it
I
takes
know.
getting up and falling down and getting up and falling down. The first time I tried certain things, you know, I looking back, I can go, oh my gosh, I can't believe I did that. But then
Yeah.
you learn and you go, I'm going to do it in a better way. I'm going to use
Mm.
these tools to become better in this thing that I want to do. And then you just get better and better and better. But you got to do it.
Yeah.
You got to try, because if you don't
Yeah.
try, then you can't grow.
Of course.
Yeah.
Now, to start coming to a closure to this episode, I think what I would like to really take from you is like, what would be maybe, your top three tips when it comes to going on this journey of creating, your personal brand and your
Mm.
authority? Like, is there some three things, or maybe two or as many as you think, like that these are things that you must implement to achieve it?
I will
Yeah.
give you my top three.
Okay.
Um, the top three, and the first one is really important, and it's super easy to do. And these are actually questions you should be asking yourself anyway. I have
Mhm.
10 questions that you should be asking yourself about your own expert authority. And it's a quiz. It's 10
Mhm.
questions. They're very important questions that you should be asking yourself no matter what business you're in, and they can access that at
Cool. I'll put it
expertauthority.com.
down below on the comments.
Beautiful. So
Mhm.
that's number one. Number two, you need a killer headshot.
Mm.
You need a professional. Don't just go with the selfie that you did in the
Oh
bathroom at
yeah,
some
oh
club,
yeah,
okay?
yeah,
You know, that club selfie that you took in the bathroom is really cute, but that's
yeah,
not a professional high resolution. And so if people go, well, what kind of headshot do I imagine that if you did write that book and it's going to be a bestseller, what's the image that you want to put on the back of the book?
yeah.
For
Hmm.
me, and this photo is a few years old, but for
I
me,
love it actually. It's nice. Yeah,
it's the money shot. It's a
yeah.
photo of me wearing headphones and I have a microphone in front of me, which is my life, right? I'm laughing. I have a facial expression that
Hmm.
is pure joy. You can't even see my eyes because my eyes squint. I have big black framed glasses,
Yeah.
and I'm wearing black because I love black. I'm a Darth Vader fan, so I wear black all the time. But this image, I'll tell you, Vincenzo, this image has gotten me more openings, more bookings, more connections than a damn selfie from a club bathroom. Okay.
Yeah.
So take the expert authority quiz to see how you rate, where you rate, okay, in your expert authority-ness. Get a really good headshot, professional headshot photograph. If you could get more than one, yay, but at
Mhm.
least one. And then work with someone who's either a mentor or a coach who can take you from where you're at now to where you want to be, or at least on the road to where you want to be, in a quick manner, but in a way that is enjoyable for you. And I say that with a grain of salt because there's all kinds of coaches, there's all kinds of people, but you want to work with somebody that you trust, that has done it before, and they can save you time, energy, frustration. If you go it alone, some people are great DIY, do it yourselfers. But if you go it alone, sometimes you'll hit a dead end and you might give up. If you're working with a coach that's guiding you, a good coach, they will guide you and teach you the things that you need in order to get the message out. Because we need to take a good look at our messaging. We need to look at our website, and we need to be very honest with ourselves. If I was a stranger and I stumbled across your website, would I be intrigued? Is it just a bunch of copy, a bunch of text? Is there no engaging video? I tell my clients, I say, when I pull up your website, I want to see a welcome video. I want to see a video that starts playing and it tells me who you are, what you do, and how you can help me. I don't want to read I don't want to read a newspaper article.
Especially these days. Yeah.
Video is king or queen, wherever you are. Video is extremely important. And then of course, yes, making sure that you get the content out there, and video is very important because people can see your eyes, they can feel you, they can feel your energy. And I think those are I gave you 4. I think I gave you more than 3.
That's good.
But those are my top ones.
Good, Christine. So, thank you so much for all your knowledge. It's been amazing. I'm sure
It's been my
there's so much
pleasure.
more
Absolutely.
that you can share with us. And that's why I'm going to leave all your information below. And in case somebody wants to reach out, where people can find you.
The best place is expertauthoritycoach.com. That's expertauthoritycoach.com. They can see all the different things that I offer, but they can also book in time with me if they want to have a discovery call. It's absolutely free, and it's a way for me to find out what kind of business that they have, and I can also give them some tips on how they can increase their expert authority in a very fun way, a very simple and fun way. We want to keep it fun. If it's drudgery and it's painful, then that's no good. We want to keep it fun, so that they can do that all at expertauthoritycoach.com.
Love it. So thank you, Christine. It's been a pleasure, and see you in the next one.
Thank you, my friend.
Bye-bye.
Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.